Moses tells Israel he is now 120 years old, and that he can no longer lead them as before. He explains that the Lord will go before them, and Joshua will take his place as their new leader. Moses reminds the people that God defeated their enemies before, and he will do the same again. He urges all Israel not to fear, for God himself will not fail them nor forsake them. Moses calls Joshua forward and tells him to be bold, for God will walk with him into the promised land. Moses writes the law and gives it to the priests, the sons of Levi. He commands that every 7th year, during the feast, the law must be read to everyone, men, women, children, and strangers. God summons Moses and Joshua to the tabernacle, and his glory appears in a cloud. God tells Moses that Israel will one day turn aside, and trouble will come because of their choices. God commands Moses to write a song that will remind Israel of his faithfulness when they forget. The Lord tells Joshua directly to be strong, for he will lead the people into the land. Moses finishes writing the law and instructs the Levites to place it beside the ark as a witness. Moses says he knows the people will turn aside after his death, yet he warns them to listen. Moses begins to share the song that God gave him for the people. Moses calls all creation to listen as he proclaims the greatness of the Lord. He declares that God is faithful, upright, and unchanging, unlike the people who forget him. Moses reminds them how God found Israel, cared for them, and carried them like an eagle. He recounts the blessings God poured out: fruit, honey, oil, milk, and abundance. Moses mourns that when they grew comfortable, they turned away from the God who made them. He explains that turning away brings sorrow, and enemies will rise against them. God could have cut them off, but he keeps them for his name's sake, though their choices bring fruit of their own making. He says God will show that idols cannot save, and only the Lord has true power. Moses proclaims that God alone kills and makes alive, wounds and heals, and will judge rightly. He ends the psalm with a promise: God will restore his people and show mercy again. Moses, nearing the end, blesses Israel and recalls how God led them with fire and glory. He blesses each tribe: Reuben, Judah, Levi, Benjamin, Joseph, Zebulun, Issachar, Gad, Dan, Naphtali, and Asher, with strength, safety, and favor. Moses ends by declaring Israel blessed, for God is their refuge and mighty shield. God leads Moses up Mount Nebo and shows him the entire land promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Moses dies there, and the Lord himself buries him in a valley of Moab, in a place no one knows. Israel weeps for Moses 30 days, then Joshua steps forward, filled with the Spirit, as Scripture says no prophet ever rose like Moses again.